Lions making a roster move today, and we'll head to PFF and talk to Ethan Masel about the next opponent, the Dolphins. It's another edition of Locked On Lions.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening, everybody? Matt Dery with you. It is a Tuesday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, a Tuesday, October 25th and a Wednesday, October 26th. In case you missed yesterday's show, the countdown is on. If the Lions don't win one of these next two games, I'm out, baby. Woo! Peace. I've already alerted the masses at the Locked On Network. I'm done. Had enough. 1-5 football team, Miami. I think this is going to be a winnable game Sunday. Green Bay, they look bad. Rodgers' thumb is bad. His receivers stink. Got to win one of these next two. Got to do it. If they're 1-7, I am seriously considering getting out of this racket and handing the reins over to somebody else who can host this Locked On Lions podcast. But you can follow us on Twitter at Dery Speaks, D-E-R-Y Speaks, at Locked On Lions, the Matt Dery Facebook fan page. And also, we are on YouTube for those watching on the video side. The Locked On Lions YouTube channel. So many comments. A lot of people listening yesterday and begging me not to go anywhere. Look, tell your football team to win. I'm tired of talking about the same crap here. They're the worst team in the NFL, 1-5. Ross Tucker going to join the show tomorrow. Love talking to Ross. We'll have him on. As I mentioned, Ethan Masel from Pro Football Focus. Give us a little insight as he's all over the Dolphins. Will give us some insight on Miami coming up here at Ford Field on Sunday. He's our guest in a few minutes. A couple of nuggets before we get to Ethan. Number one, the Lions did make a roster move today. They brought back safety C.J. Moore, who they waived due to an injury designation at the start of the season. Very good special teams player. Went to the Texans, was on their practice squad, and the Lions had brought him back to the active roster. So they made that roster move today. That is number one. Number two, something I didn't get to yesterday, and that is anybody that complains about Dan Campbell not having enough talent, or I should say, let me start again. Anybody that complains that the ownership is not spending money and that there isn't enough talent on the field for Dan Campbell because maybe of spending money, etc. Let's think about something for a second. I was thinking about this driving home today from work. DJ Chark's getting paid $13 million on a one-year deal. Has done nothing this year. Has not played well. Now he's injured and on IR. That's number one. Number two, Bradley Holmes, the general manager, gave Michael Brockers a brand new 3-year, $24 million contract when the Lions traded for him and Jared Goff last season. They didn't have to do that. They tore up his existing deal, gave him a new deal, and gave him $11 million guaranteed. Michael Brockers, while he's a heck of a guy and a leader in that locker room, has done nothing all season and was a healthy scratch this past weekend. And my guess is won't play this week either. Not with John Kaminsky coming back and being decent last week and Josh Pascal coming on. So that's 13 plus 8. That's $21 million right there being spent on players that are not doing anything for you. So I get it. The Lions are not, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell inherited a bit of a mess with the cap and the Jamie Collins contract and some others that were on the books, and the Goff situation is what it is. But some of the decision-making by Brad Holmes, some of the contracts that he signed, Tyrell Williams, Brashad Perriman, some of the money that he's handed out has not worked. Now, these next couple weeks at home, you got, like I said, Miami and Green Bay. Then you go to Chicago, and I want to talk about the Bears in a second. Let's see them win some games here. 1-5 and having the worst record in the NFL, this NFL, which outside of Buffalo, Kansas City, and a couple other teams is pretty mediocre. Tom Brady, the greatest ever, 3-4. Aaron Rodgers, the GOAT, 3-4. Well, those teams have the same record as the Bears. Did you watch last night's game? The Bears stink. They're no good. No, they played well last night. They pounded New England. Surprising. That's the same Patriots team that took our team behind the woodshed a couple of weeks ago and beat them 29-0. That Patriot team looked abysmal last night. Now, give the credit to the Bears. Luke Getsy, their offensive coordinator, finally figured out you've got to design some running plays for your quarterback. Justin Fields, who's not great in the pocket, not a great thrower, but boy, you design some runs for him and get him out of there. They're a different team. And I love Jaquan Brisker. I wanted him with the Lions. I told you guys before the draft that was a guy, second-round safety. I like him. And Roquan Smith is still there. But other than that, that's not a great Bears team. But they've got 3 wins. It's depressing to watch last night and realize this division is there for the taking. I'm not saying the Lions were going to win the division. But Green Bay's underachieving. Minnesota, the Lions should have beaten. And I watched the Bears last night. They're all right. They're not great. It wasn't great football. It was, hey, Chicago played well. The Patriots were abysmal in all 3 phases. And I don't know what Belichick was doing with the quarterbacks last night. That was beyond bizarre. Ross Tucker is going to join us tomorrow. Crossover on Thursday. We'll see about injuries and who's going to be healthy for this weekend. We'll talk to Ethan Masel from Pro Football Focus. Knows everything about the Dolphins inside and out. And we will do that coming up next. But first, I got to tell you about our friends at BetterHelp. All right. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. People get stuck all the time. People need to talk to somebody. You got to find a good therapist. It can be tough to train your brain to kind of stay in problem-solving mode. Well, the best thing to do is to go to BetterHelp. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and it's entirely online. All right, get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey. You can switch therapists anytime. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/lockedon. Folks, it's fantastic. Again, you can make changes to what you want to do. There's no better feeling than talking to somebody and getting some help. Get it done at BetterHelp.com/lockedon. Do that today. Also, want to tell you about our friends at LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That is why you need LinkedIn Jobs. Got to check it out. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. I've posted on LinkedIn Jobs. It is easy. All right? Very simple to do it. All right? Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to hire, interview, and hire. That's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find qualified candidates you want to talk to, and you do it faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, as promised, you're on Locked On Lions. Detroit hosting Miami this weekend. Ethan Masel is with us from Pro Football Focus, knows the Dolphins inside and out, and joins us today. What's up, Ethan?
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, my friend. Your Fish are 4-3. Is that about right? Do you think they're a 4-3 football team, or how do you kind of assess where they are right now?
I think we could have been a lot better if we had Tua the whole season. It's kind of been one of the biggest stories in the entire NFL this year. I actually think we may have been undefeated up until the Vikings game if we had Tua the entire year. But 4-3 is not bad considering the quarterbacks we had.
When you look at the situation, everybody watched the game, certainly Sunday night. I'm not enamored with him. I think he's good. Obviously, you think he's better than good. I think he's, fine, but I know there's obviously a drop-off when you go from Tua to Teddy Bridgewater and even the kid, the third stringer that played a game. But, the sky's the limit for this kid, or is it just that Mike McDaniel's pushing the right buttons right now, you think?
I think it's both. I'm obviously a big Tua believer. we've had a much better record with him than without him. We're 9-19 with Tua, 4-8 without him since he got drafted. I think he's as good as our receivers are, and they're incredible. So it's kind of all you need for what we're trying to do right now with this season.
How'd you assess Sunday night playing an inferior team? And obviously the defense stepped up with the interceptions and everything else of Kenny Pickett at the end of the game. But not maybe the prettiest performance, right?
Not at all. I mean, it's probably his second worst game of the season. That and the Bengals and the Jets games earlier in the year. But I think we could have been better on offense. We had a great pass blocking game. We only allowed 4 pressures on Tua, the fewest all season. It was a fine win. It's a win that I'll take. It was a good building block to future things.
I think, well, it's interesting because the Dolphins are sort of an anomaly. They're sort of weird to figure out. I think people were hyped up about the McDaniel hire, and he's kind of this young, fun genius, right? But in that division, everybody was still picking Buffalo to win it, and I think New England even to maybe finish ahead of them. Now the Jets all of a sudden are a big deal this year. But what are your expectations? Maybe what are the fans' expectations for this season? Was this we better make the playoffs type of year?
I think for sure it's kind of like a make or break year for Tua, and kind of the whole offense is how me and all the fans are thinking. At this point, with what happened, people are kind of like, okay, if we don't make it as far as we would have expected, but now that we have Tua back, we have like a decently easy schedule going ahead. No offense to you guys, but I think we have a strong shot to push back into the playoffs.
Ethan Masel is with us from Pro Football Focus. We love the folks at PFF. We're going to get to what Ethan does for them momentarily, but talk a little Dolphins. Ethan follows them as closely as anybody. The run game, where is it at right now? And obviously, I don't think that the coaching staff would tell you it's where they want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, last game against the Steelers, we had our second most rushing yards in a game all season long, 111 yards. Raheem Mostert has been our guy all season. 70.5 PFF rushing grade, which is, 39th overall, which isn't bad. He's the RB25 in fantasy. So he's having a decent year. He's by far our best running back. But as a team, we're kind of like below average, a middle of the pack kind of rushing team, which is definitely not where we want to be. Although I think a more high-powered passing offense will probably work better with the personnel we have.
The defense last week, hard to judge. Playing against Steelers, quite honestly, and Kenny Pickett, who probably isn't ready to go just yet. Yet they made plays with a banged-up secondary last week. What's the latest, and how many guys are they going to get back, you think, for Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, we're down a good amount of guys. We lost more players today. We lost Flowers, Needham, and Jones last week. And, I mean, Noah Igbenogany, which is – I think that's how you say his name. Came up big, game-winning interception. He's had a back-and-forth career so far, only a 50.2 grade this year. And one of the big things I've seen on defense is that Xavier Howard's having probably the worst year of his career. It's kind of out of nowhere. He's only at a 50.5 coverage grade, which is by far the worst that he's had. I mean, it's just not really the coverage that we needed. And a lot of that's due to injuries. We lost Byron Jones in the Steelers game. Again, it's the only game he played all year. I mean, now he's gone again. I don't know when he's coming back. So we just need to focus on improving our corners and our safeties and getting back to the defense we want to play.
If you're the Lions, where are you attacking this Miami team? Again, the most I've watched the Dolphins was this past Sunday because it was on in prime time. And it's tough to gauge when you're facing a rookie quarterback and quite honestly, a Steelers offense that I think is pretty bad. But if you're the Lions, how do you attack this Miami team? What would you do?
Definitely go to the outside corners. Those have been our biggest struggle points all season. I know the Lions receivers right now are a bit banged up. I think Khalif Raymond's your starter this week. But
don't judge. He had a good game this past week, Ethan. Come on now. Your PFF boys loved him this week.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Lions offense going into the season, but it's kind of taking a bit of a tumble, but definitely the deep ball is where I would attack us the most on the outside.
Ethan Masel with us from PFF. I want to talk about what he does for a Pro Football Focus and to dive a little bit more into this Tua situation and his health. We'll do that coming up next. First, our friends at PrizePicks tonight, or even last night. If you were betting on the game and you play a little daily fantasy with PrizePicks, you probably did pretty well last night if you had Justin Fields rushing yards, because it was way over. And that's what's fun about it. You say, hey, I'm going to bet on Justin Fields to run for more than 60 yards in a game, and you did quite well last night. It's the great thing about PrizePicks is you go there, you pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. Great thing, too, about PrizePicks, there's projections for every sport you watch. You want to do NBA tonight, NFL, Major League Baseball with the World Series coming up this week, NHL, PGA Golf, college football, college hoops. It's all there for you at prizepicks.com or on the PrizePicks app. Entries can be made like 60 seconds or less. It is that easy. Safe and fast withdrawals currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. You're betting against yourself, not and against the projections, not against anybody else. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code LOCKEDON at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Our buddy Ethan Masel is with us from Pro Football Focus, the pride of Indiana University. Ethan, I'm representing IU today, just for you. Ethan's a wonder kid, PFF. He works for PFF. Tell us a little bit about what you do for them, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm a graphic design intern. That's what I do. I design social media posts with a team of a bunch of people. And over the summer, I got to work in Cincinnati at our headquarters. It was a really great experience. I love working there. They're a great group of people. It's a really fun environment and very informative to learn about working in and around football.
How accurate do you think they are? Do you get to see them? Maybe even during the preseason, are you there when you can watch? Are you watching them watch the videos and do all that?
I'm not around that part. I stay in the social team, but I'm a big fan of our grades.
There you go. Did you meet Chris Collinsworth? Is the big question.
I did get a chance to meet him. That was a really cool experience for me.
Oh, no question about it. And Diamond Dave Salfaro, who is freaking out this week as his Wolverines are playing MSU. So a big Saturday for Dave. All right, back to Tua for a second. The injury situation and the concussions and how it was handled. Where were you at with that? And do you watch the games thinking, oh my gosh, even this past game, he lowered his shoulder and went right into a Steeler defender instead of sliding. What'd you think of that?
I thought the way they handled Tua, in the moment back when they were bringing him back from concussion, I thought it was fine because I trusted the team doctors, as any fan or person involved with the team probably did. But now there were weeks removed and he had the whole situation with the concussion. I think he just needs to play a bit more careful. I saw him, like you said, lowering his shoulder, kind of going into hits that I think he could have just slid and avoided. And I know after the game, he said that was his fault and he tried to take responsibility for it, but he's our franchise guy. Without him, we're not a good team. And he needs to know that and understand that if he gets injured, it's kind of over for our season again.
So you don't have faith in Teddy Bridgewater or Skylar Thompson.
I actually really like Skylar in the preseason, but he didn't show me enough when he got the opportunity. So,
how do the fans feel about Mike McDaniel? It just seems like a home run hire. He's so much fun. He's an interesting bird, but at the end of the day, other than this past Sunday when I didn't agree with his call to go for it instead of kicking the field goal up 6, he's done a nice job there, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, back when in weeks 1 to 4, our offense was rolling. Everyone seems to be a big fan of Mike McDaniels. I really like what he's done with the offense. That's his specialty. And the defense will hopefully come along with it. But I'm a big fan of the hire. It's worked out great so far.
Final thing. So Sunday, I know we're days away. We're only at Tuesday, but what concerns you about this weekend and a possible letdown for the Dolphins in Detroit at Ford Field?
I mean, we're 3-point favorites right now, which is it's a small margin. I might like to see that grow a little bit. I think the Lions' offense has been up until like 2 weeks ago has been like really potent all season long. It's been an explosive offense, and that scares me a bit. I don't know how much we can keep up with an explosive offense like that with Tua just 1 week back playing games, but I think it should be a fun game. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, the Lions are due to score a touchdown or two, Ethan, after the last 2 weeks where they've scored zero. So, a couple of field goals isn't going to cut it. Ethan, great to see you. Thanks so much for the insight.
Thanks for having me.
Ethan Masel with us, Pro Football Focus. Follow him on Twitter at Ethan, EthanMasel. Great guy and all over things for a Pro Football Focus on both the graphic side and he knows his stuff as well. All right, we're back with Ross Tucker tomorrow right here on Locked On Lions. This has been a Tuesday edition. Thanks for making us your first listen.